This is Kicking It with Coton House. I am Venetia.
I'm Jenny.
I'm Laurie.
All right, and today I'm honestly excited about this conversation. Today we're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about how to view real estate, how to shift that mindset, how to think like an investor, and whether real estate is an asset or a liability, and or how do you look at those interchangeably and how do they work together, or you know what I mean? What's your mindset about those things? Jenny, I know you've been in the game for how long now?
15 years.
Ooh. Lori, how long you been in the game?
A little longer than that.
I'm probably the underdog in this. So you guys have seen things change, and you guys have seen the evolution of real estate, the ups, the downs. Probably had to shift your business at some point, shift your mindset. Jenny, what is probably maybe either your clientele or you as an investor personally, what is something that you had to work on mindset wise in order to shift from thinking about real estate as like, can I afford this, to how do I make this profitable?
Well, that directly goes back to how you opened, which was, is real estate an asset or a liability, and how you think about it. It can be an asset or it can be a liability. It depends on how you approach it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you having helping you through the process? Who is answering the questions? Do you have a lender who's really giving you the true lowdown on what you can afford, and not only what you can afford, but what that looks like actually in a monthly payment? I think approaching real estate with care is the best way to understand how it's going to work for you as far as an investment, whether it's your personal home, whether it's an investment property. You have to approach the whole thing with care. It is every buyer going into a closing is excited, but they're also a little nervous because it's a big thing. Their nerves are only this big for the most part. If you've covered, I mean, some people are nervous no matter what, but if you've covered all the bases, answered all the questions, they know exactly what their payments are going to be. They know exactly. It even includes home maintenance. Let's talk about the inspection report and what you might be anticipating in the next couple of years as expenses. You have to go into it carefully. If you don't know real estate deeply on your own, you need to have people help you. Just like I have a financial advisor because I'm like, what the heck? What do all these words even mean?
Where do these numbers go?
So when I go to her, I tell her it's like a therapy session for money. It's like the best because I walk out feeling like, oh, I got this. I understand it all.
You have a professional that can guide you and give you the proper information.
Yes, and then you are going to be able to decide for yourself, is this an asset or is this a liability? It's a liability if it's just you can barely afford it, and it's going to stress you out all the time. So there's been lots of shifts in mindset and market over the years. That one is a constant though. Get good guidance. Start with a great, smart realtor who will pretty much immediately refer you to a great, smart lender. And as I always tell clients, realtors get nothing out of referring lenders. They get no monetary kickback. They get nothing like that. Absolutely cannot happen, does not happen. What I get when I refer a client to a great lender is a happy client who can close,
and a great
who
experience.
is not nervous, who understands that this is going to be an asset to them. So,
Okay. I mean, so for me, I've been in the real estate game probably like 7 years now, and my entire career has shifted from where I started, and how I think about real estate is completely different. How I even approach or deal with my buyers, my sellers is very different. My buyers, it's kind of like the same thing. I don't want to just put people in a house because they want to be in a house, whether you can afford it. And then now I want to talk strategy with them. How long do you plan on being in this house? What's next after this? Do you have children that are growing up, that need to go off to college? How do we turn this house into a vehicle or a tool for you to leverage to help you with the rest of your lives and the things that you have going on? And that's from a perspective of your everyday buyer. Now, when I'm dealing with investors or people who may have money saved up and they want to invest and they don't know how, but they know that investing is the right way to go, but they don't have the proper mindset, I would say kind of similar in the sense of financially. You need to have a financial advisor and someone that can advise you on where your finances stand. Do you know how to budget? Enlisting a professional. Get a realtor. Realtors are more than just like, let's help you buy your house, let's help you sell your house. Realtors have resources. We know a little bit of everybody.
Let me interject there. Good realtors.
Yes.
Good
True.
realtors.
Good realtors are resourceful. We don't do everything by ourselves. Just because we may have showed you the house or we may have brought you the deal, we didn't close it. There's a full team of people that helps that transaction come to light.
But we introduce you
Yep.
to a lot of those players that are involved to help it all come together in a neat package. I think that's one of the things I love about real estate is that people present you with this kind of undulating river of ideas and plans and goals, and we've got their whole people moving into the house and they got their pets, and you've got this whole like it almost feels very messy in the very beginning, and by the time you get to that closing table you have taken that whole big splashy river and you have like you deliver it with a ribbon on top, and there's a lot of work that goes from the river to the closing table.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like you said, are involved, and good realtors have those resources and know how to get you to the right place.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So I think that with the market that we're at now, we were talking about this earlier, where people are like, how's the market? Well, that's based on your tolerance and how you see real estate.
That is very true.
That's just really what it boils down to.
And when people say, how's the market? Same thing we talked about earlier is, well, why do you ask? Like, what are your goals? What are you trying to figure out from
what do you want?
market?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and everybody's different. You know, it's an individual, it's an investor, it's a huge investor with subdivisions, the area of town, the price point. I mean, it's so varied. So that's a hard one. And really to answer that, you need to find out some answers to questions.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing when somebody says, how's the market? What are they looking for? They're looking for an education. If you got really deep into the Fed and the this and the that, they would look at you like you were crazy. That's
They
not
don't know
what
those
they
words, yeah.
That's not what they
They
care
wanna
about.
know,
They
like,
care about how
is it safe for me
Glaze
to
over?
invest?
you
Yes,
know.
how do these
Yeah.
interest rates affect me? And I'm not going to buy a house because the interest rate
Yeah.
is too high. But
They
if
just
they
want somebody to tell
understand
them.
that interest rates are going to fluctuate, housing prices are going to stay, it's going to be whatever you buy your house for is whatever you buy your house for. When you close, that is never going to change again. That's always going to be the price. The rate is going to fluctuate, and you can always catch those rates during
But that's
the life
where
of your
the
loan.
mindset and creativity comes in, where people are afraid of an interest rate. They're afraid of, or we don't have inventory. Like, those are things where the mindset and the shift comes in. So if the rates are one particular way, maybe we get creative and do an ARM. And then this way we ride the wave and we refinance and get a great rate. If the market has no inventory, why don't we shift our mindset and look off market? Let's get creative. So I think it's all about when people say, how's the market? Well, what are you looking for?
Yeah, it's a
Who
much
are you?
bigger
What's
conversation.
your tolerance? What are you looking to get out of it? If you're an investor in this type of market or whatever type of market, is a realtor useful as a mindset? As an investor, would you say, you know what? I think we need a realtor. Is a realtor useful? And if so, how would investors use us as realtors? How are we beneficial to them? What would you say?
That's what I was going to say. Is that a question or a comment?
What would you say?
Maybe both. Well, it goes right back to every single thing we've talked about. Every single thing we've talked about. I will say I work with some investors who already have their own crew together of people that are going to maybe rehab a house. That's fine. If you don't need any remodelers, that's perfectly fine. But there's a whole lot of other people within that. Maybe you have a lot of investment properties and you're getting to the maximum of ones that you can, that you can't, lender doesn't want to give you any more loans. Well, what are we going to do? How are we going to leverage
That's
your
when
money
creativity
then
comes in.
Yeah.
to be able to, so maybe we need to talk to more than one lender, but everybody has a unique situation, and that's part of the reason real estate is so incredibly interesting, because everybody has a unique real estate need, and of course everybody has a
And no
different
transaction
personality.
is the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely no transaction is the same.
How would you say either realtors are useful to investors, and or how do we work with investors? Here at Coton House, I know we have a lot of agents that work with investors. What would attract the investor to realtors as us, or how would we be of value to our investors? Like, can we bring to the table?
That's a really good multifaceted question. And as you ask that, I'm thinking about different agents in the office that are working with investors, and everybody's got a little something different going on. But I will say that before I got into real estate, I worked with multiple realtors when I was flipping homes, and like every profession, not all realtors are created equal. You've got to find somebody that will take the time and has the knowledge and the interest in you. And so some of the agents here are helping people with investors with creative financing, because they've got the relationships down pat with multiple lending sources. Other people are working with investors on finding plots of land, and even though they're experienced and really, really good investors, you still need to do your due diligence to find out what's really selling, how much is it selling for, how long is it selling for, what are the schools like, et cetera, et cetera, and not assuming that everybody knows what they're doing. So I think really in a nutshell, and I know we're running out of time, but in a nutshell, finding somebody like these two women right here that are incredible, just incredible in every way, and working with them to achieve your goals or to figure out that maybe it shouldn't be your goal. So that's basically a short answer to that.
I would also say one other thing. In talking about mindset, if somebody comes to me with something that I know is not my specialty and I'm not going to be able to really help them, we have an incredibly collaborative team.
Bingo.
And there's going to be somebody else on this team
That
who knows what
yeah.
to do. So we are able to refer that person or gain knowledge or whatever it takes. But that's part of the mindset. I can't do it all. I don't know it all, because everybody comes in different, with different real estate goals.
Yeah.
But I love that. That's what I honestly love about Coton House, and I tell people, I'm like, this is like a little family. Like, whatever one person can't do, another agent is willing to help, or they can fill in or specialize in something. And back to like our resources as agents, I think that I'm going to toot our own horn. I think we're really good at resources in our network. Like, that's what separates us from a lot of other agents and a lot of other, things. And I feel like a lot of investors and people trust us because our wide variety and range of knowledge, like what and your experience in the game is very different than what I do. And when you bring it together, it now affords our clients to have an experience with us that we get to help them from beginning to end, and everybody makes some money, which is obviously the goal.
Powerhouse.
Nice.
So, it's all about mindset in how you want to use the resources and the tools that we have. Getting creative, I think that we all have learned within the last couple of years, anything is possible now. So the whole saying of, well, we can't do that, that's not how it's done. There's a will, there's a way. And just kind of opening up your mind to be creative and open to different ways. Real estate is, like I said, so multifaceted. There's so many things and so many different ways to acquire real estate and leverage it. It's about leveraging, how to use it. You don't need to just purchase and sit on it. It's that, I think that's really what real estate has become about. Like, buy a house, live in it with your family, and pay it off in 30 years. It's like, well, how do we use this thing? It's just sitting here. How do we shift our mindset for this to actually be useful to us for our entire lives, or how it can be useful to our children? But in closing, I hope that you guys have drummed up some thoughts of your own, or we may have answered some questions. And if you have questions about investing, or you are just inquisitive, or you're ready to invest, reach out to us here at Coton House. We'll be happy to assist you in one way or another, answer any questions, and have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.